Outside of this one church town, there's a gold dirt road to a whole lot of nothing. Got a deed to the land, but it ain't my ground. This is God's country. We pray for rain and thank Him when it's falling, 'cause it brings a grain and a little bit of money. We put it back in a plate, I guess that's why they call it God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-found Dixie whistle in the wind, that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. We turn the dirt and work until the week's done. We take a break and break bread on Sunday, then do it all again, 'cause we're proud to be from God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-found Dixie whistle in the wind, that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. God's country. I don't care what my headstone reads or what kind of pine wood box I end up in. When it's my time, lay me 6 feet deep in God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-found Dixie whistle in the wind, that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. Yeah, I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-found Dixie whistle in the wind, that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country.
Guys, I say it all the time, and I don't know about you guys, but when I hear this song, it fires me up. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It just fires me up. You guys remember, especially you, Bobby, and Doug, whenever we would serve search warrants, you guys work in gangs or narcotics, and we used to have a band when I was in narcotics the last 2 years of my career, and we used to have that band, and we used to play Bon Jovi. We used to play songs before we go hit a song, we'd be all fired up. Dude, if this song would have been around in 2014 and 2015, I would have been blasting this song, before we hit
I was not
Bobby, what was your favorite song when you guys would hit houses in a band?
I was not a hard rock guy, but when we were in that search warrant van, we were listening to some serious metal headbanger music.
Were you?
Yeah, we were just blasting it out there. Then right before you get there, you lower it, and it would get really quiet right before you go in.
Hey, bro, we used to play Down with the Blaze of Glory by Bon Jovi. And, man, by the time we got there, we could go through a door just with our head alone. You know what I mean? We were so fired up. Do you remember, Doug, when you guys would hit a house in gangs? What song you played?
I don't remember if we played songs.
Really? Well, you guys usually went in separate vehicles, right? You guys weren't like narcotics in one van, right?
Yeah, we would load up and yeah, we might load up. There was only 5 of us, so we would load up.
Yeah, Steve Kincaid's band. Steve Kincaid's band. He always had a band,
or like an Explorer or something, But yeah, or Mikey Gallivan's Van, but we didn't really. I don't remember playing music. I mean, we may have. I just don't remember.
Oh, dude, we would blast. We were blasting.
We were
man.
professionals.
Yeah, well, I guess we weren't, but you know what? We enjoyed it. Mike, when you worked the streets as a sheriff, did you guys ever hit a house? Did you guys ever have one song that you guys would always talk about? Guys, before he answers that, we have the legend, Colorado law enforcement legend, Mike Martinez. You always see him posting, and we finally got him on. He's been on the Gray Line, I think, once or twice, but we wanted him on Ash Wednesday. We finally got the legend. Do you remember any songs and any teams that you ran, Mike, when you were working law enforcement in Colorado?
My work was primarily in the Denver County Jail, so we didn't have a whole lot of music going into the jail.
Yeah.
It was pretty much go in, do your work, go home. That's it. No music.
Well, I'll tell you, brother, if we would have had this song, I guarantee you I would have been blasting it. I always wanted to put corridos or mariachis, but everybody was white on my team, so they wouldn't understand it. They would have said it was Bad Bunny, you know what I mean? But you know what? Bon Jovi always got us through the door. Guys, with that said, let's go real quick and welcome everybody that's watching us today. We got Chris Hastings. Hey, brother, I've been trying to reach out to you. I want you to be hopefully on my month that's coming up in March. Maybe I could get you then, brother, so we could practice before you come on. We had those problems the other day. And we got San Diego PD legend, Robert Lopez, Bob Lopez. He's in Maricopa. He just had a kidney transplant. Brother, we love you. We've been saying a lot of prayers for you, and we're thankful to God that you're doing great. Let me know when you're ready to start counseling. He's one of our counselors, guys. When he's feeling better, I always put his name up. And if you're going through any problems, call Bob. He is a man of wisdom, a great man. He's going through healing right now. But talking about counseling, we have our chaplain, one of our two chaplains, Ruben Nava, Sheriff Sergeant, who's now a chaplain in East LA. And we also have Reverend Renz, and I'll pull up his number. If you're going through something, you need prayer for you or a relative, please call Reverend Renz. We got the Fish Slayer, Southern Cal. Thank you, brother. Yes, we started at 501 today, but we have another legend with us, Chris Kilby, one of the San Diego Police Department's best detectives, gang and robbery detectives. Thank you, brother. And we got the crime fighter. We got Dim DeJanis. He's going to be with us my first week in March the 4th. He's going to be on the second week. Johnny Gladson's going to be on. Guys, the month of March, we're going to tear it up. But our first guest is going to be the crime fighter. He's going to have a drink with us, and we're going to be talking like we always do. And we have our sister, Ceci Escano. Thank you, sister. We love you. Still prayers for your beautiful mom. Sister, and we have one more here. Fixer at home. Fixer at home watching us. Let me bring him up. Hello, gentlemen. Fixer at home. Yes, I got it right. All right. All the way from Australia. Thank you, brother. Blessings to you.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is. Guys, with that said, let's go around real quick. Let's start off with the $300 bottle, man. We're going to start off with the Big Doug. What are you drinking, my brother?
Hey, I'm drinking a local whiskey, so it's not $300, but it's a distillery. It looks like it's been around for like 150 years. It's called Old Dominic.
Okay.
It's a they call it a Tennessee bourbon whiskey. Mm-hmm. It's the cask strength, and it's aged in white oak from West Tennessee, and it's about this particular bottle. It's about $60, and I got it at the local little shop nearby the condo. But it's really nice. It's really good. It's got.
What's this taste? I mean, does it have a peaty taste? Is it?
No, nothing like that. It's got a little bite to it, but it's heat. It's got honey. I taste honey. Dark chocolate, and just a hint of cinnamon, and that's what gives it the bite, is that little bit of cinnamon. It's not like a Fireball cinnamon. It's like a true cinnamon. It's really a nice bourbon. Really nice.
Great. You know what? Show the bottle again. What's the name of it?
Old Dominic.
Old Dominic. Okay. I'll definitely go to ABC because I know definitely they don't sell it at Costco.
Yeah, no, they don't have that there probably.
Hey, real quick, yes, Chris, I talked to right now when we came on. I did mention that I've been trying to get a hold of you, and I know Cocaine Cowboys, you're using your wife's email, but thank you, brother. We love you, and please reach out to me because we want you to be on our show in March. So, but I want to practice before so we don't have the problems that we had 2 weeks ago. But please, brother, reach out to me. We got Big BJ Juarez once again driving on the 710 on his way home, rush hour traffic. You're listening to a great show today. With that said, Big Bobby, what are you drinking today, brother? What are you smoking? First of all, are you smoking at your house today?
Yeah, of course. I just well, it's at my house. I'm in Chattanooga, so I disabled the fire alarms in here. So that's how I roll. I'm drinking some coffee, my black coffee, and a Don Pepin, El Rey de los Habanos. And I love this cigar here, and that's what I'm having. I'm having coffee, some mineral water, and my cigar. That's it.
That's a good cigar, Bobby. That's a very good cigar, man. Excellent. And Mike Martinez, what are you drinking today, brother? And I know you're not smoking, but what are you drinking, brother? Share with us.
I'm drinking one of the pineapple jaritos.
Oh, Jaramillo, okay.
Those are good.
Normally, I'd have a shot of Don Julio 1942 tequila or a shot of Suavecito, but I got some medication that says I can't drink, so got to settle for the pineapple juice.
Hey, you know what?
That's good
Dave,
stuff.
if you go to Costco and they have Suavecito tequila on sale, get a bottle of that.
I want
Put
to
it in
have
the freezer, and every time you want to have a sip of tequila, pour it from the freezer, and I guarantee you, you'll enjoy that.
You know, I do have certain bottles in my freezer just for that. When I want to just sit and sip, I get it out of the freezer, and you know what? The taste is remarkable. It's
Absolutely.
It's great. And guys, what I'm doing, I'm smoking a pretty good cigar. It's called Perla del Mar Corajo by J.C. Newman. Have you ever had one of these, Bobby?
No.
You know what? It's a very good cigar, great draw. It's not strong at all. And I'm drinking it with my Costco Toki Santori whiskey. And I'm telling you, this bottle was only like $45, $49. It's probably one of the best whiskeys I have ever had. It is outstanding. Have you guys have you ever had it, Doug?
I've had that, and you know what? And here's for the folks out there that are thinking about getting into whiskey. Price point doesn't matter. If it tastes good, it's good. It doesn't matter what the price is.
That's right. And you know what? The Japanese, they're really good in making whiskey. I mean, this whiskey, I'll put it up there with Macallan's and all the other ones. It is a delicious whiskey, and it's outstanding. But guys, with that said, Doug, why don't we have you go ahead and introduce our guests, and then Bobby, you and Mike take it over from there. Go ahead, my brother.
Hey everybody, tonight we got Mike Martinez. Okay, he has an extensive experience in corrections, which includes the jails, prisons, community-based corrections. His career in corrections includes employment as a deputy sheriff with the Denver Sheriff's Department and adult probation officer with the 4th Judicial District Probation Department in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and as a United States Probation Officer for the District of Colorado. In his capacity as a U.S. probation officer, Mike served as a line officer, the district's special offender specialist, supervisor, and for 6 years prior to his retirement as the deputy chief. Mike's duties at the district's special offender specialists included the investigation and supervision of the district's highest profile cases, including the investigation and supervision of sophisticated white-collar offenders, outlaw motorcycle gang members, street and prison gang members, sex offenders, and corporate defendants. He was a member of the United States Sentencing Commission, the work group as a development of corporate guidelines for worksheets. And during the career as a supervisor and deputy chief, Mike worked closely with the Federal Bureau of Prison and state and local correctional law officials. He served as a liaison officer between the probation office and the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And if that's not enough, following his retirement, he served as a lecturer and assistant professor at the Metropolitan State College of Denver, which is now, I guess, the Metropolitan State University of Denver. Is that correct, Mike?
That's correct.
Yeah, and Criminal Justice and Criminology Department from May 2001 through August 2009, teaching community and institutional-based corrections. He also taught administration of community corrections as an honorarium instructor for the Graduate School of Public Affairs, University of Colorado at Colorado Springs during the fall of 2001 term. In August 2009, Mike accepted an appointment to teach at the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs School of Public Affairs Criminal Justice Program as an instructor. In August 2011, Mike was appointed director of the Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice Program and promoted to senior instructor. That's quite an accomplishment. Mike's areas of interest include community and institutional-based corrections, white-collar crime, gangs and organized crime, violence in the society, ethics in criminal justice, and development of internship programs for criminal justice students. He's a graduate of the Metropolitan State College of Denver. He's received his Master of Arts degree in criminal justice from the University of Colorado in Denver. Quite a career, Mike. Quite a career.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed it.
Well, we're honored to have you, Mike. Go ahead, Bobby. It's all yours, my brother.
Welcome, Mike. We're honored to have you. And what we're going to do today is we're going to have a discussion about some of the current topics or hot items in the news. And obviously right now, the first topic we're going to talk about is the disappearance, possible kidnapping, whatever it is, of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Savannah Guthrie, who was a big media personality. And before I talk about it, obviously, I think most of you guys know about my background. I did quite a few kidnapping investigations in Phoenix. Kidnapping is a very rare crime in the U.S. It's not something that it's not a crime that happens in the U.S. It's something that happens more in the undeveloped world, the third world, south of our border. But when it occurred in the United States, when I dealt with it, I think it's more of a crime you would get Phoenix, LA, New York, big cities, border cities, and many kidnappings go unreported because in the US, most kidnappings involve, in my case, illegal alien on illegal alien tied to human smuggling, drug trafficking. We've also had Vietnamese organized crime, Vietnamese gangsters kidnapping within their own community, which most of the time goes unreported. These are people that do not want to call the cops. But then I did about another 300 plus kidnapping investigations in Haiti. Every single one were kidnapping for ransom. So when I look at what's going on with the Nancy Guthrie case, initially I thought, was it a burglary? And it went bad and she died and they just took the body with her. But then I saw the video yesterday and it's like, okay, this adds another element to it.
Yeah.
Where this guy shows up with the gun, a camera. I mean, how many people, most people who are doing burglaries are drug addicts. I also was lucky enough to work in a sting property unit. I bought stolen property from burglars, we had a storefront operation. I bought deals on the street. Your typical burglary is a tecato. He's a drug addict who is stealing to then take his property to a dope house and then get his fix. And if you have a drug addict with a gun, that's going doing a burglary. That's rare because a drug addict would sell that gun for the dope. He might carry a knife, but I had drug addicts sell me guns and show up to the scene and want to sell me their gun for extra money for their dope. We just didn't have typical burglars doing burglaries with ski mask, maybe a bandana, and carrying a gun. So I thought that was kind of weird. No proof of life. You know, when you get a kidnapping, you know, you got to say, what's the motive? Is it money? Are you trying to make some type of political statement, some statement to get out because he's reaching out to the media? I'm not even sure that these other calls going to the media are even involved. I'm not sure because I hate to say this because I've been praying for this woman's safe return. My belief is I think she's been, as you say, she's not alive anymore. She's dead. She's dead. She has health issues. And if there's no proof of life and really so far we heard credible contact now with the family. Now, as an investigator, I would keep my cards close to my chest. a lot of people think that the media needs to be reporting every day what's going on in the investigation. You don't want to show your hand. You're strategic with information you release to the media, even if you're feeding bad information to the media. We've been known to do that to get things to move. So anyway, it's kind of disturbing that, if the guy was a professional, he would have known how to disable that camera like that. He struggled getting rid of that camera, looked like he didn't know what to do. And then one other thing, I hear people saying, well, maybe it was somebody that it was just random. They thought a rich person lived there. No, if it's a kidnapping, even burglaries, they usually scope the place out. And if it's a kidnapping for sure, they're never random. They have information from the inside, whether it's inadvertent information from a family member or actual involvement from a family member. You also have gardeners, housekeepers, somebody that showed up to do some work on the house that could go in, and maybe the victim can say, yeah, I live here by myself, and they see what she has, then they will act. But for it to just be a random kidnapping, that would be even more rare on top of all the other things that we've been talking about. So
let me ask this, Bobby. When kidnappers make their demands, don't they usually go through the family? They don't go to the press?
No, what they'll normally do is, like, say in this case, almost so many of our kidnappings, they would ask the victim for their phone and leave the phone behind so that they can communicate through that phone. Always, for a ransom for money, would always start, even in Haiti, where nobody has anything, they wanted $1 million or $2 million. And then they would settle for $2,000 and a beat up old truck or a motor scooter or something. The running joke when I was in Haiti, if I ever got kidnapped, the start point for my negotiation was going to be a 6-pack of Prestige beer in the refrigerator and a half bottle of Barbancourt rum, Haitian rum. That was the starting point for my release. But it's they always start high, and then you start, with most kidnappings, as an investigator, you work closely with the family. What is it that you want? We advise pay a ransom, get your loved one back, and then the investigation will really start. Because it's really dangerous when you start trying to kick in doors. You kick in the wrong door. And I've mentioned before, I had a kidnapping case where another unit in Haiti did an operation without letting us know, who were handling the kidnapping. And when we found out they failed, the phones disconnected, and they shot a 12-year-old kid twice in the head and dumped him in a ditch. So you almost always, my strategy would be, let's try and negotiate a safe release of your loved one, and we could recoup the money later, hopefully. But what's more important, the life of your loved one. And then afterwards, your investigation, you start hunting, because we had a lot of luck paying ransoms. We'd get it as low as we could, and then the investigation we started, and I mean, we were rounding them up left and right. I mean, after a while, the kidnapping gangs in Haiti were literally telling the victims, do not call the Americans, because they knew that there was an American team operating their country, but they'd still call us anyway.
Yeah.
Any input, Mike? Any thoughts?
Well, when I look at, some of the cases I worked on in federal courts and kind of evaluating the defendants and what they did, and a lot of what came about is, one, they're driven by a need for control. Kidnapping, as you mentioned, it doesn't often occur sporadically. There's a great deal of planning that goes in, and when I look at Nancy's case, and I look at the video yesterday, and I see the steps that were taken, to me that indicates that whoever took her, either one person or more, was obviously planning this for some time. I would not doubt that they did surveillance on her.
Yeah.
They did surveillance on the family. Again, knowing when she was coming, when she was going, when she was going to be by herself. And that, in essence, helped trigger the kidnapping. Now, the media is reporting that they found bloodstains in and around her house. So, again, there's an apparent act of violence, and that's very concerning. Whenever there's acts of violence and kidnapping, and Bobby, I kind of unfortunately agree with you. I'm very concerned that she is still alive, and I have some serious doubts that she's not. Now, one of the other things I get concerned about, and I don't know if you watched the news last night, but I'll ask you all, do you think the media is overreacting and over-responding to events that are occurring? And the issue I bring up last night was watching TV, and all of a sudden there's a notice. Breaking news on the Nancy Guthrie case. There's a car that's been stopped and searched. There's a house that's been searched. There's an individual suspect. I don't know if they mentioned if it was a person of interest or actually a suspect. They go on and on and on for hours and hours and hours, going basically over the same thing. And I'm thinking when I'm watching it, oh, this is going to be some good news. They've got some leads on it. Potentially that it's going to lead to solving the case. And then the stress hits that, nothing came about from it. But yet the media has made it and portrayed it to be something very symbolic that's going to help in the case. So I ask, does the media overrepresent and overportray events, or should they wait until law enforcement actually comes forward and says, these are the facts of the case that we know now, rather than speculation, rather than leading to hope, false hope especially. And that to me was frustrating last night. It was a continuation I think it went on for at least 2 hours. And I thought, I'm not going to watch this anymore.
Yeah. Last night I was watching, and I saw breaking news on the major networks. And I work in media. I did 2 Spanish interviews today. I got 2 more tomorrow for Miami radio. And so I live on Twitter, and major news on the networks and on Twitter, 2 SWAT vans observed leaving police compounds and are following them. And that's crazy. They're going to have to start using decoy SWAT van and then leaving a pizza truck or a phone truck or something because they were reporting that. Now, a good question from Ceci.
Yes.
I don't know anything about pacemakers. Thank God that I don't need one. So I don't know how do they work. Do you guys?
You know what? Doug answered her. So Doug, do you mind answering that question? Yeah. I texted it. Yes.
Yeah. What it is like the pacemaker wasn't disconnected. No. I mean, they can malfunction, but her pacemaker was connected to her Apple devices to keep like her. I guess she had an Apple Watch that monitored stuff, and then if you have your phone and things like that. So, and that works on your pacemaker with those devices works off of Bluetooth. So my understanding is that her devices were left at the house, that she didn't take her Apple Watch and stuff. So it wouldn't show. So once you're out of range of the Bluetooth, it's not going to show any activity on her pacemaker. Now, I personally don't have a pacemaker. I've had some family members with pacemakers, and they just continually work. And every so often you have to go in and have them replaced. But the only reason they turn off is if you pass. But you'd actually have to. You have a device that actually would read the pacemaker to know that. So, but so I think what they were reporting on for Ceci's question is the fact that she was out of range of her Bluetooth devices, that they couldn't read the pacemaker any longer. So you wouldn't know where it was.
Hey guys, also just FYI, 5 minutes before we came on live, there was a news break. My wife came over and told me, news break, that they found a glove.
I saw that.
Found a glove there in the property. I mean, this is starting to feel so much like an OJ case, right? I mean, all of a sudden they found the glove. I don't know, Bobby, can you and Mike dissect that video? I was trying to record it, to put it on tonight, but they showed this individual walking in, and on one picture, actually, he's walking in, there's no backpack. And then, I don't know, miraculously, a backpack appears. It looks like he has boxing gloves because he's messing with the camera. And then he walks over and he gets some tree branches and he's trying to cover the lens of the camera. When anybody, I mean, this individual is not a professional. All he had to do was just yank it off the wall, correct? But he's trying literally to, I mean, based on your training and experience, Bobby, I mean, right now, Chris Hastings is calling you Benny, but I think he means you, Bobby, because you have all the experience when it comes to the kidnapping cases. Based on that, Mike and Bobby, what is your opinion? It doesn't sound like it's a group that was surveilling. It just sounds like it's one idiot that went over there that might even be a family member that might be following somebody's personal vendetta against her, because this is not professional. Is it me reading into it? Can you guys talk about that?
Well, I looked at that, and I my initial thought is he's taking some precautionary measures. He's looking around. He's trying to figure out what's going on within that specific area. And then, again, the camera is showing him, and I agree, the gloves he has on are very bulky. So I don't know how much you can do with those bulky gloves. Then it shows him walking back, and you mentioned him pulling something. I think they described it as him pulling a flowers out of the ground, and then taking that towards the camera and trying to cover the camera or smear the camera. And
I mean,
that didn't seem to work.
Does he not watch movies or TV? I mean, shave cream, silly string, a piece of tape. If you're gonna do that, you know,
black spray
black paint,
something.
something.
Yeah.
But again, in a kidnapping, you're going to do your research.
Yeah.
You're going to surveil the individual, know their comings and goings, as I mentioned. But you're also going to know the surroundings. I don't know particularly whether this individual was well aware of those surroundings. For him to walk up and look around, and it looks like he's a little confused. I'm saying because that's the impression I get from the video, that it's a male offender.
We could get some.
When they've done the stalking and viewing the circumstances of the victim, the planning is what's important, and that's where it's concerning to me. There was enough planning for them to abduct Nancy, take her away. Obviously, she's taken away because all the investigation in and around the home has not developed any leads. So that tells me again, she is not near her residence. The question is, where has she been taken, and by whom?
I have a question, Mike, for you and Bobby. Bobby, who is the jurisdiction, law enforcement jurisdiction where she lives? It's in Tucson, correct?
Yeah, it's Pima County. She lives in the county area.
It's the sheriff's?
Yeah, sheriff's department. That area where she lives, I've been out there. And then they did a search warrant last night in Rio Rico. Right. Rio Rico, the running joke with us was that was an area where all the drug smugglers and human smugglers would buy nice homes out there. That area was, we did quite a few Title IIIs, the wiretaps, where some of our targets, it always seemed that they were living in Rio Rico because it's right next to the border. It's probably, I'm guessing 12, 15 miles away from the border. It's not that far.
Now, Bobby, let me ask you a question. Why is the FBI involved? Why isn't the county the county sheriffs whose jurisdiction it is, why ain't they taking the lead? If there's no proof that she crossed state lines, there's no proof that she crossed an international border, why is the FBI taking it over when it belongs to the sheriffs? And I'm sure that they're capable of conducting a thorough investigation. Why is the FBI there, Mike and Bobby?
Well, the FBI can get involved after 24 hours. If there's an abduction, it's reported, local law enforcement can request assistance from federal authorities. And normally it'll take 24 hours before the FBI actually gets involved in some cases. And I don't know how quick the response was by the FBI in Nancy's case, but typically 24 hours has to pass before the FBI actually gets involved in an investigation.
Yeah, I think from what I heard that they called the FBI fairly early on. One is because, I mean, it's the kidnapping of the mother of a media,
celebrity.
Yeah, and the fact that I mean, the FBI has, I mean, they can, their forensics units for getting into electronic devices and all that stuff. They've got the equipment and the know-how. They got guys that's their job. That's their only job to do is exploit, that kind of stuff and enhance videos and stuff. Where the sheriff's department there doesn't have that technology or that expertise in those fields. So,
well, I think Bobby would know that. Do they have that expertise, Bobby?
Yes, they're to be able to exploit hard drives, cell phones, all that kind of stuff. They're very good at that. I worked with the FBI for 5 years as a task force member, and I mean they could do things that I didn't even know we could do.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy,
pretty crazy shit that they could do. But I think they asked the FBI's help. Within 6 hours, I think they asked for help.
The sheriff asked for help. The sheriff.
Yes, I think they asked for help probably because of the crime, the evidence type stuff that they could do. Now, the other thing I've mentioned before, David, when you were in Mexico, Department of State sent a so-called kidnapping expert to Mexico, and I had to introduce him, and he was an FBI agent. And I remember thinking, well, if he has kidnapping experience, it has to be overseas, because that's not a problem that really happens. And most cops in the U.S. have almost zero or very limited kidnapping experience, unless if you work in a border city, Phoenix, L.A. maybe. So this guy turned out to be, he was an FBI agent from the Phoenix office I was working, and I didn't know him. So I was like, okay. It turns out he was he had no experience. He just fluffed his resume, but the reason I knew he didn't have any experience working hard kidnappings, the FBI does not get involved if your victim is an illegal. Has to be a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
So they will not get involved. And with all those kidnappings we had in Phoenix, they were not involved in any of our kidnappings. We had the U.S. Marshals help us out with cell phone tracking devices, but the FBI were like, hey, not U.S. citizens, we don't get involved. So
interesting.
FBI has a great lab to be able to do their magic on things that we need to do to start tracking cell phones as well.
Right. And one of the other things that concerns me, and I mentioned blood that was found on one of the walls, and there's some issues with aggressive kidnappers. And those individuals tend to employ violence. So we have the possibility of violence with Nancy's blood in her home. The other thing that concerned me with the video we saw yesterday was the reference to a firearm. So now we have that link along with the aggression and the potentially assaultive behavior. So again, the likelihood that Nancy has suffered potentially serious bodily injury could be very apparent based on some of the evidence that we've seen since the kidnapping occurred. And that, again, is very concerning in terms of of her health and welfare and her well-being.
Yeah, and another thing, I'm hearing people say, well, why would a kidnapper want to take somebody elderly? Actually, they would want. Kidnappers want a vulnerable victim. They want a victim. They don't want some healthy male that can overpower them later on. They want someone that they can control. When I would get kidnappings, even in Phoenix, husband and wife in the house, they take the wife all the time because they can control that wife, then make the husband go out and hustle for the money. Sometimes they took both of them, but usually it was they take a child, an elderly person, or a woman is what they will take because they're easier to control and you don't have to worry about them, taking a proton energy pill and whipping everyone's ass in the safe house and getting away. They want someone that they can control. So,
hey, Bobby, between all of us here, right now I was counting, we probably have over 130, 120 years of law enforcement experience. During my 32 years, and Doug, 30 plus years, Bobby, 25, and Mike, 30 plus years. Did you guys ever see anybody, I never saw it, anybody have a holster in their crotch area? I mean, I've seen them have it underneath their pants, but a holster in their crotch area. Have you guys ever seen anybody walk around with a holster in their crotch area? I mean, literally where it's a holster. I've seen it inside the pants, but not, I mean, what was up with that?
One of the things I think Mike mentioned, he looked disoriented. Now, one of the things I'm thinking, I mean, who is this guy?
Exactly. Or
is he?
What if it's a woman? We don't know if it's a woman.
It could be a woman.
Yeah.
But the thing is that then now you got to look at people. We got a lot of people that are mentally ill out there too. There's a lot of mentally ill people doing stupid things, and he just seemed disoriented. And he got up to the camera. To me, I think there had to be some type of pre-planning by at least looking at the house and deciding when's the best time to hit. But I just think as far as carrying out the operation, he seemed disoriented. He seemed a little confused, he or she. But I don't know. It's going to be curious to see what happens. I'm sure, guarantee you, there's a lot more the investigators know than they're releasing because you'd be foolish to keep showing your hand. And then, like I said, we have news trucks chasing SWAT teams they're literally watching the lot where the SWAT team's at and then forming a caravan, following them around to see where they're going.
And this,
So,
let me
Go ahead, Doug.
let me ask this to Mike and to Bobby both. So, I mean, it looks like this guy's kind of a bumbler. I mean, during the whatever's on the videotape we were watching and going on, and then with the demands being made not to the family but to the family through media, do we think that maybe the person that's actually making the ransom demands could it be just another knucklehead who's just taking advantage of the situation versus the guy that actually did the kidnapping? Because my personal thought is that it's just another knucklehead that's just decided he's going to jump on the bandwagon and see what he can get out of it. And that the person who actually did this, like Bobby said, she may have already passed, and they're just like disappearing, right? They want nothing to do with this shit anymore because it got out of control. What do you guys think?
Well, I think
about
we've
that?
seen that already. We've had an instance where I believe one individual's been arrested for making false ransom demands.
Yeah.
I agree here that I think the individual or individuals involved in the kidnapping have now realized the gravity of this case. And because of that, I fear that they're basically saying, we're going to walk away from all of this.
Yeah.
Get as far away from it as we can. And then we wait and continue to see if there's any further developments that lead to Nancy's recovery. But I think personally, the fear that's now injected because of the publicity and the investigation leads me to believe this individuals saying, I'm going to wash my hands of all this. I want to get as far away as I can from this.
Yeah. I think I agree with you, Mike, on that.
Yeah, me too.
That's just the gut feeling I have.
This is a deal in kidnapping cases. You never even think of paying any money unless you got a proof of life. You need to have a proof of life. But now today with AI, if it's somebody that has a lot of interviews out there and you could use AI to try to recreate that voice, that's another thing you probably will have to start looking at. Not with a mom. I don't know what kind of interviews, but the thing is you never pay unless you got a proof of life, because I've had plenty of kidnapping cases, especially in Haiti, where we were negotiating. And we had one case where, actually a couple of them, where these kidnapping gangs that do one after another have a safe house. So they would have 4 or 5 kidnapping victims in one house waiting. It was like they were just rotating them out. All right, come on, we got to get rid of him. He's been here too long. Well, they in one kidnapping case we had, when we debriefed a victim that got released, he told us, "Oh, that victim, they killed him the first day." And we were still negotiating for a whole week to get him released. And we had figured he was dead, but because they would never give us a proof of life. And then eventually they dropped that phone and they just dumped the body. But it's I'm telling you, for the family, horrific. I can't imagine what they're going through. It's horrific. And even the investigators, if there's contact, but if there's no contact, it's very frustrating, because I can't think of any case I ever did where they went to somebody other than the victim's family. The victim's family, they always went to them first.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, go ahead, Doug.
Well, Mike, how many? And I'm gonna assume that you probably did more as a federal probation and parole than you did at state. But how many kidnappers for like pre-sentencing interviews and stuff have you dealt with? And tell us about what their inclination was after being tried or whatever.
Great question, Doug.
Yeah, in the federal system, and I think you mentioned earlier, there are not a whole lot of kidnapping cases that occur in the United States.
Yeah.
I think rough estimates are right around 350 kidnappings a year. Of that, 175 or so have been prosecuted in federal courts. I did pre-sentence reports on at least a dozen kidnapping cases. In a lot of those kidnapping cases, the defendant knew the victims. They did the kidnapping primarily as a power and control method. In some cases, they sexually abused their victims. They moved them around quite frequently. They humiliated them. Their main emphasis, again, was exert my power and exert my control. And that is how they got them to do what they were told to do. Mm-hmm. Now, fortunately, the victims for those defendants survived. But the trauma that they experienced, I can't imagine. And I think that they're still living that trauma today. But again, when we look federally, the federal guideline statutes are probably some of the most severe in terms of penalties. And as I looked at this case, and I looked at circumstances surrounding this case, the federal sentencing guidelines start off with a base offense level. And that base offense level is based on the severity of the offense. The highest offense level in the guidelines is 43. And let me pull up a little chart here. I don't know what I did. Sorry about that.
Real quick on progress. I totally agree with you about the AI. This guy seems like he might have trouble tying his shoes, What I was referencing to is future kidnappings or cases like this where other criminals who are a little bit more, professional can start using AI. Yeah, but this guy, I don't think this guy would be doing that.
Kind of like
The other thing on the federal cases, a number of those that were arrested had prior convictions, and most of them were for burglary. So again, they knew how to get in and out of a house. Their criminal history was, in some cases, based on acts of violence, and again, with a few of those, the sexual assaults that occurred. Now, when I go back to the sentencing guidelines, the base offense level is a 32, and there are specific offense characteristics that the judges consider in determining the sentence. And in Nancy's case, with what we've seen, based on video and based on reports, is, again, is there a demand for ransom? Do we have a true demand for a ransom? If there is a true demand for a ransom, our base offense level 32 is increased by 6 levels.
Wow.
And then from there, is there bodily injury? Well, again, we know Nancy's blood is on her house, so there is bodily injury. There's another enhancement based on the severity of the injury. If it's life-threatening, if it's serious bodily injury, or the degree of injury was in between both those two, that could add up to another 4 levels. So we're at 38, 42 levels already. Now, if a dangerous weapon is involved, and again, we have video showing there was a firearm. It doesn't have to be brandished. As long as it's there, it's present, there's a firearm. So that's another 2 levels. Now, there's also a degree of time involved. If the victim is held for more than 30 days, then there's another 2-level increase. If the victim is held for less than 30 days, but for more than 7 days, then there's a 1-level increase. So in Nancy's case, if the defendants are arrested, subsequently charged and convicted in federal court, their adjusted offense level could be at a minimum of 42. Now, with sentencing guidelines, the offense level goes on a vertical basis, and a criminal history goes on a horizontal basis. And there are 6 levels of criminal history. Level 1 is 0 criminal history points. Criminal history 6 is 13 or more criminal history points. So if a defendant has no criminal history points and is facing a offense level of upwards of 42, that would automatically lead to a potential 360 to a life sentence.
Wow.
And the other thing that benefits
360 months or 360
360 months.
months?
So
Okay.
30 years to life.
With what day? Yeah. No, don't they usually say 30 years with 1 day, something like that? And when they say that 1 day, they have to serve up to 30 years, correct?
No, what the 1 day is for is basically for a year sentence. Now, federal good time is changed with the Sentencing Reform Act. Before that, an individual could earn a third off, 2/3 off of their time. Now they serve approximately 85%.
Yeah.
But in order to get that 85% time, or good time from that 85%, the sentence has to be more than a day and a month. If it's
Okay.
a year and a month, I'm sorry. If it's a year, they serve a year. So attorneys have automatically known, Judge, give him an extra
Add a
day.
year. Add a month.
Why? Because I get 54 days off.
There you go.
So that hurts. It hurts misdemeanor cases, especially those that are capped at a year. They have to do a year. So a lot of times attorneys will come back and say, Judge, we know he's not going to get good time because the sentence is less than a year. So let's kind of compromise and give him 10 months. 10 months and 4 days.
Let me ask you this. Oh, sorry, Mike. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
So here in this case, again, if an individual pleads guilty, admits to the crime, accepts responsibility, 3 levels could be knocked off that total offense level. So oftentimes that'll save them. In this case, it could save them upwards of 5 years in prison. If they go to trial and they're found guilty, they don't get acceptance of responsibility. So again, if you're facing a sentence to where the minimum of the guideline is 360 months, the federal judge has to impose that sentence unless he or she determines there's some specific reason why a departure could be made. And oftentimes the government has to file a motion allowing the judge to consider a departure from that minimum sentence. There are times defense attorneys will argue for it, but again, a lot of that is representative of the U.S. Attorney's Office and whether they believe it's an appropriate departure from a specific guideline. The courts have pretty much ruled that the guidelines now are advisory. At one point, the Supreme Court ruled that they were mandatory. And then there were several other challenges to the federal sentencing guidelines. And the Supreme Court came back, I believe, in 2004, 2005, and reversed their initial decision and said, no, sentencing guidelines are no longer mandatory, but the judges must consider those guidelines in imposing the sentence. And if they don't, they must specify on the record why it is that they have departed from those guidelines. Now, if the judge departs from the guidelines and imposes a lower sentence, the U.S. Attorney's Office can always appeal that sentence. Or if the judge doesn't depart and imposes a sentence within the guideline but higher than the minimum of the guideline, the defendants can appeal that sentence. And the Court of Appeals will take up those appeals and then make a decision from there as to which way to take the government's position or the defendant's position.
Now, is that the old minimum mandatory system you're talking about?
No, this is the guideline or the statutory for kidnapping doesn't carry a mandatory sentence. It carries a sentence of up to life in prison. And if a death occurs, then the government can pursue a death or a death
penalty. Yeah.
They can file a first-degree murder and pursue the death penalty.
Yeah.
The whole system itself, did it used to be called like? I was a bailiff in county court in the early '80s before I changed agencies, and the judges had like a scale, a sentencing scale they went by, right. And we always heard at the county level that at the federal level there was a minimum mandatory. Like if you were convicted of these crimes, there was a minimum that the federal judges didn't have discretion on the sentencing, that there was a minimum that they couldn't go below that. Is that what's changed over the years?
That's changed considerably. It changed a lot because of drug statutes.
Okay.
The mandatory minimums for drug statutes were I think, outrageous.
Yeah.
For 5 grams of crack cocaine, mandatory 5-year term. Whereas for 500 grams of powder cocaine, that triggered the 5-year mandatory term. So getting off the subject a little bit, the powder cocaine and crack cocaine, when the guidelines first initiated, was a ratio of 100 to 1. 1 gram of crack equated to 100 grams of powder. And then Congress modified that to where it's now right around 18 to 1. So there's still some mandatory minimum sentences, but primarily for drug cases.
Okay.
The federal statutes for kidnapping.
Hey, Mike, you know what? Our 1 hour is up. We're in our last minute. I'll tell you what, we're definitely coming back to this topic. It was very interesting. But why don't we go around? We'll start off with you, Doug. Tell us what is your opinion? What is going on based on what we're receiving? I mean, is it a righteous kidnapping? Is it a group that's in charge of this? And then we'll go around, and then we're going to call it a night. Go ahead, Doug. Start it off.
I'll tell you, at the beginning, when the reports first started coming out, I thought it was a botched burglary.
That's what I thought.
They went in, and then, oh crap, she's home, and it got out of control. And then when the videos came out, right, of this guy, it's like, you don't dress like that, and you don't prepare yourself like that. As sloppy as it was to do a burglary, you just don't. So then the kidnapping seems pretty reasonable, but in my mind, it's somebody close to her.
Yeah.
She's just not a random, like Mike was saying, it's just not random stuff, and Bobby were saying it's not random. I personally think, that the media is focusing so much on the ransom, because it went from $1 million to $6 million. I mean, that's a big jump.
Bitcoin, all this,
Bitcoin, all kinds of crazy stuff. I think those people, and I'll probably be proven wrong on this because I don't have all the information, but I think that's a distraction. I think those are just outside people doing knucklehead shit. And I personally think that she's no longer with us just because of her age and her health situation. And she hasn't had any care for all these, almost 2 weeks now, right? And I think the actual person who did this is like what Mike was saying, is like, I'm out. I'm like disassociating myself from this. I'm going to let everybody talk all the nonsense out there because that has nothing to do with me. That's my personal opinion.
And Mike, we're going to hear from you, and then we'll hear Bobby last because he's the expert when it comes to this. What's your opinion, Mike?
Well, again, it's a very, very unfortunate situation. There is proof that she is injured. Mm-hmm. There is proof she's no longer in the area. Whereabouts, totally unknown. Again, I hope and pray that she's still alive, but inside of me it says, I don't believe she is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this case will ever get resolved.
Yeah. You think they'll recover the body eventually?
Eventually.
Yeah. And Bobby, what's your professional opinion?
Well, like Doug, initially I thought this was a botched burglary, but nobody does a burglary at what time was it? So late, unless you think someone's not home.
30, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to think someone's not home to do that if you're doing a burglary, because I mentioned I used to buy stolen property through a storefront operation. I had a couple of cat burglars that would knowingly break into a back window, sneak into a burglary, because they get their jollies off by sneaking around the house and having someone sleeping in the house and grab their shit and get out. That's creepy. But I think once I saw the video, I thought, well, shit, this is, like I said, as unprofessional as he looked, this has to be a kidnapping. But I don't know. Once there's no contact, if there's no proof of life, and we only got these wild requests for a ransom through media, like I said, I'm not convinced those are even related. So I would be surprised. And like I said, my hope now would be pray for her safe return, or I think we're probably past that. I think just so they can have closure, return of the body, discover where she's at, if that is what happened to her. But I'm telling you, as an investigator, and I've been with those families, it is horrific. It is downright horrific. My heart goes out to the family and also to those investigators, because those investigators are going through, there's a lot of pressure to break this case. So that's pretty much my opinion.
Yeah. Mike, once again, brother, thank you very much for being with us, for sharing your knowledge, especially the court, your expertise on sentencing guidelines. We sincerely appreciate it. Thank you, brother, and thank you for being part of our family. You're always watching. I mean, you're one of the first that logs on. And go Broncos, brother. Thank you very much.
There you go.
There we go.
Yes.
God bless you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey, man, talking about an expert on sentencing guidelines, huh?
Dude,
My God, I mean, he was just coding it. And only one time, I believe, he used he actually read it, but it was all mine. I mean, what a great man! What a great man! What an honor to have him with us.
yeah. I think he read it just so he would make sure that he didn't misspeak, because he knows it in his head. He knows exactly what he said.
Well,
Yeah.
he spoke my language, where we always talked about when you arrest somebody and you start sitting down with them to get that downward departure to their sentencing. In other words, you're flipping somebody.
Yep.
And you're still going to jail, but let's look at a downward departure at your initial sentencing here.
That's right.
How can you help yourself, buddy?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, Bobby, tell us. Next week is your last week. We're not going to have a show on the I believe it's the 23rd. I'm going to be out of town in Sacramento, but next week. I don't have next week locked down yet. So tune in, and we'll let everybody know here soon. Are you looking at bringing Cricket in, the former Mexican Mafia member from Arizona? Is that still on the table?
I've not been able to get a hold of him, but I also got some other possibilities. So I'll let you guys know here within a day or two.
Okay, perfect. And we'll announce it for next Wednesday, and we're excited about it. Bobby, any last words, brother?
No, it's just, the frustrating thing, when they arrested the guy yesterday, or they picked him up, they detained him, they questioned him. In the back of my mind, I was like, dang, too bad we're not in Haiti or Mexico, because you know how those interrogations go.
That's exactly what I thought too. He would have been your suspect.
I told Doug when I had dinner with him, I said, in the countries I've worked for, we in the U.S. use good cop, bad cop during interrogations. In other countries, they use bad cop, worse cop. God bless the third world. Let me tell you, we just can't do that, though.
Hey, Geronimo sent a message to Cricket to get a hold of you, Bobby.
Okay.
Oh, he should hopefully be reaching out to you. God willing.
All right.
And Big Doug, share with us words of wisdom. Tell us another quote, brother. I look forward to your quotes.
Okay. So maybe your path is tougher because your purpose is greater. That's the title. Maybe your path is tougher because your purpose is greater. What if every struggle God has placed in front of you is in preparation for something bigger than you could ever imagine? The toughest journeys lead you to the most extraordinary destinations. Challenges don't mean you're off track. They're proof that you're being shaped for greatness. When life feels overwhelming, remember, diamonds are made under pressure, and the strongest steel is forged in fire. Your struggles are building you for your strength. Your purpose isn't small, so your path won't be easy. But every setback, every obstacle is teaching you something essential for your mission. Lean into the discomfort and trust the process. You're not just surviving, you're becoming. Keep going. The purpose waiting for you will make every hardship worth it. There's a purpose. There's a purpose for what we're doing, what you're going through. It may be hard, but you'll get through it, and it's leading you to greater things.
That's right. And you know what, Doug, talking about purpose, I'm going to quote what Bobby's son quoted when his daughter was really sick. He goes, trust the process, but above and beyond, trust the author. And, you know, when you're mentioned about purpose, you know, I read somewhere several weeks ago where a gentleman said, I use my pain to define my purpose. And you know what? That's one of the reasons why I'm on this show. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do. I train officers. I counsel officers suffering from PTSD, suffering from suicide, because it's my pain and I define my purpose by helping others. And man, that quote that you just said defines definitely what our purpose should be in life. Thank you. Look forward for next week. Yes, Bobby, go ahead, my brother.
Well, my shout out. Happy 6th birthday to my grandson.
Oh, happy birthday.
Carlo just turned 6. Today. And
Bobby, you should have sent me a picture. We would have sang happy birthday to him. Well, Doug would have sang happy birthday to him.
Totally forgot it. It was funny because about 6 months ago, I hadn't seen him in a while. And when I saw him, just to joke around with him, because I helped raise him. I was his babysitter. And I said, Giancarlo, where's your diaper? Where's your bottle? He goes, Abue. He calls me Abue for abuelo. He goes, Abue, I'm 5. I don't wear a diaper. He says, I go to school. I watch cartoons and I eat chicken nuggets is what he told me. But happy birthday to my grandson, 6.
Happy birthday.
Hey,
Dave.
Yes.
With that, no one wants to hear me sing happy birthday. No one wants to hear me sing at all. I'm just saying.
Hey, after a couple of drinks, I'll sing some.
I won't say I won't sing. I'm just saying no one wants to hear me sing.
That's right. Hey guys, we'll see you next Tuesday on the Gray Line at 6:00, and we'll see you definitely next Wednesday on Ash Wednesday. Thank you. God bless you. Have a wonderful. Make sure you have something special for your loved one on Valentine's Day. If you don't have a loved one, please give your mom a big hug. Give your dad a big kiss if they're still alive and with us. God bless you. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
A mi modo he vivido la vida, para vivirla no hay método escrito. A mi modo he cometido errores, pero de ellos aprendí poquito. He aprendido a llorar en la vida y también a gozarla bonito. A mi modo he llevado la vida, así pienso seguir.